right around the corner. On my Saturday morning podcast, The Bat Around, with yours truly and Craig Heist, we will tackle all the stories going on in the national pastime. In order to do that, we'll pull out both of our Rolodexes and line up guests from every nook and cranny of the game. Join us each and every Saturday morning from 10 to noon at PressBoxOnline.com/radio or by going to Facebook Live at Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. When you arrive at the Bat Around feed, please like and share the show.
Tweet us at Glenn Clark Radio. 21st Century Talk Radio at GlennClarkRadio.com. GlennClarkRadio.com.
All right, winding down here on a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. You guys have been asking me for a while if I would have this guy back on the show, and he's somebody that I've always liked. I enjoyed covering him. I think we all enjoyed watching him play during his time in Baltimore and helping the Ravens win Super Bowl 47. He's certainly been very opinionated on Twitter, on his own shows that he does, and it's a pleasure to welcome back into the program former Ravens safety, Mr. Bernard Pollard, joins us now here on GCR. Bernard, it's Glenn and Kyle. It's good to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Oh, man, appreciate you guys having me. I'm hated right now, but it's okay.
Yeah, you're not a popular figure in Baltimore at the moment. I'm
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, Bernard, let's talk about it, though, because, I said before, I don't want to fight with you. That's not the type of show that I do. I think what's jarring, right, to a lot of Ravens fans is that we see so many players that play for this organization that typically have, almost overwhelming affinity for Baltimore, for the organization, for the team, and almost fawn over their time with the Ravens. And so when we see anything other than that, I think we're really alarmed. We're like, whoa, how is that possible? There's got to be something wrong with that guy. When we hear you or see you talking about the Ravens or tweeting about the Ravens, how much of what we're seeing is based on your own experiences in Baltimore, your own experiences with John Harbaugh? How much of it is, dude, I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm just giving you my genuine opinions about football?
Yeah, so I look at it, and I want to start off with, so many people think that I hate Lamar Jackson. That's not it at all. So many people think that when I give my opinion, it's based on my past with Harbaugh.
Okay.
It's not at all. For a lot of players, and you just actually said it. For a lot of players, former players for the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to ride and die. They're with the Ravens no matter what. And I get it. I understand it. I've always been different. I will always be different. I played for the Ravens. I played for the Texans. I played for the Chiefs. I played for the Titans. I am not loyal to any team. I'm loyal to the game of football. So that's what I do at the end of the day. I talk football. So to answer, your question, I'm not upset at anybody. I don't dislike anybody. When I see what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens, I honestly say, and I stand by what I said, this style of play is not sustainable. They got to develop Lamar Jackson. He is an amazing talent. He is the MVP. He has wowed the NFL. He has wowed the fans. But is this sustainable? No, it's not, in my opinion.
Okay.
And my opinion is my opinion.
So when you say it's not sustainable, I guess specifically the amount of times that he's running the ball, is that what you're talking about individually?
Well, we can look at as far as him running the football. Yes, he's going to do some things, and he's going to be electric running the football. But when we look at, all of a sudden, he's going to be taking hits. And the main excuse, what I keep hearing people say, is he's 23. Well, this is his second year in the NFL. Okay, that's fine. I don't care about him being 23. He could be 33. I'm looking at how can this team win a championship? And with this style of play, with the things that they're doing offensively, I just don't see it happening.
This is an interesting. So let's dive into this, Bernard. Because they didn't clearly this year, right? That ended up being the case. It's part of the reason we're having this conversation is because it didn't work out. Is right. it when you say that it can't win a championship? Is it because you think that defenses are capable of figuring it out? Because they did run off 12 straight weeks of dominant performances against really good football teams that largely seem befuddled as to how to stop it.
And if anything, the way they lost was not how they won those 12 games.
Yeah, you could say that they didn't come out. They weren't as dominant running the ball. Why can't it win a championship in your minds?
Well, because so first and foremost, so if we cut on the film and we do a lot of things, Lamar Jackson's talent alone is going to cause defenses to probably they're going to maybe jig-rig some things defensively to try to keep eyes on him, because you want to keep eyes on him, because if you lose him or if you allow him to get a certain leverage, his ability is going to be a home run. And we all get that. We understand it. But now, so as you guys just said, they lost a game trying to do something that they haven't done for those 12 weeks. They've been dominant in a run. So now we got to look at, so now offensively, the way this thing is set up is they are in 3 tight end sets. So a lot of people said, well, we lost because we were 3 tight end sets. Well, no, that's how you dominated the 12 weeks.
Right.
Well, we lost because Mark Henry wasn't healthy. Well, Mark Henry's not going to
Mark Ingram, right.
Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram isn't going to play for the next 10 years. So, it's going to be new guys that come in. The other running back, he stepped in and he's been productive. So now it's just we keep making excuses on why we lost. I think the Baltimore Ravens got to do a better job developing him, so that way when you in the regular season, when you get in the playoffs, you can say, okay, Lamar, we're gonna go heavy personnel with 3 tight ends, or hey, Lamar, we're gonna spread this thing out and we're gonna let it roll. Well, they don't really know what this is, and everybody's giving the excuse on those few reasons are why we lost, because we didn't spread the field and we didn't let Lamar use his talent. Well, the Buffalo Bills, they didn't change some things up. They can go heavy, they can go spread, and they're exploiting the talent for Josh Allen and not putting him in certain situations. I don't see the Baltimore Ravens doing it. They created an offense that really drives off of this 3 tight end set, and when that doesn't work, or when a player goes down that's in the backfield with Lamar Jackson, all of a sudden all eyes are on Lamar Jackson, and he can't, and it's not working.
So you bring up Josh Allen. I think that's a fair name to bring into this conversation. Do you feel you don't feel there are any limitations on what the Bills could achieve with Josh Allen as their quarterback?
When I look at Josh Allen, when I watch the film, he's a guy where, at times in his game, his mind just goes blank, and he does some stupid things. When you look at Lamar Jackson, I guess I'm kind of comparing them, because throughout the year, I think both these quarterbacks, we all already know Lamar Jackson led the team in rushing, while I almost think Josh Allen led his team in rushing as well. And there's been games where he's been the leading rusher. So that's the compare. That's why I'm comparing the two.
Sure.
But when I don't know what the limit is. I don't know if Josh Allen would ever be able to win the Super Bowl. But I'm saying the development for Lamar Jackson, it can't just be, hey, we're going to go here, we're going to continue to throw the ball, or continue to run the ball, and we're going to be dominant in the run, and then, we're going to throw every now and again. I get it. Everybody's saying he threw for over 300, he rushed for over 143. Well, he did something that he's not normally doing.
Right.
So it's just, I just don't see it. And everybody call it hate, and everybody say I dislike. It's none of that. I'm just talking football.
Do you feel as though you're kind of, at least at 23 years old, right, in the NFL second year, why you feel it seems as though you're very confident in asserting that you don't think that even in the next 5 to 10 years he is going to be able to take those steps to develop, despite his development from year 1 to 2? What makes you so confident that Lamar Jackson will not be able to overcome any deficiencies that might stop them from currently winning in the postseason?
Okay, so the biggest thing I say right now is they've been dominating the rush. The last 2 years, they've led the league in rushing offensively, and they've dominated. They've set records rushing the football. So as everybody keeps saying, he's 23 years old. Well, you just said the next 5 to 10 years. The next 5 to 10 years, he gets older. So that means the more he's running, the more hits he's going to take, the more damage his body is taking. He's not going to be able to sustain this type of style of play. So can we develop this quarterback to say, okay, if he has to make a couple plays with his legs, cool. We're okay with that. Lamar, get down, get out of bounds, don't take any hits. Mm-hmm. But the type of player that he is right now, his number one instinct is run the ball. When hell breaks loose, Lamar Jackson runs the ball, and he does it great at 23. It is awesome. But let's say another year, another 2, another 3, another 4. He's getting older. all those runs, setting those rushing records, leading the team in rushing, that costs something. And we're not looking at the big picture. We're just saying, okay, well, we're excited because he was exciting this year. He was the MVP this year. But when it's all said and done, can this continue to happen as he gets older? And we all know the body breaks down at a certain time, especially for running quarterbacks.
Bernard Pollard is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Bernard, I just want to clarify something. It sounds like what you're saying is less that, like, Lamar Jackson could never, or, Lamar Jackson couldn't win a Super Bowl. You're saying that you don't believe that the Ravens doing what they're doing with Lamar Jackson can win you a Super Bowl. Can I clarify that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I want everybody to understand, like, it's not, so I guess when I say Lamar Jackson, he's under center.
Right.
He's under center. And so we got to look at, too, if Lamar Jackson goes out, and Robert Griffin Jr. comes in. We all saw the Pittsburgh Steelers game. It didn't look as pretty as those 12 weeks.
No, of course
so
not. Right.
Now, if anything happens, now that offense, that's what that offense is, and now you got somebody else with a lesser talent having to run that type of offense.
So let me go twofold as a follow-up to that. The first being, I think a lot of people have made the comparison to Russell Wilson, right? And I'm not trying to say that Lamar Jackson is Russell Wilson yet. I want to make that very clear. No, I don't think that. And Russell Wilson's in his own world, and there has been no one with mobility in maybe the history of this game that has done a better job of eluding, big hits and that type of contact than Russell Wilson has. He has been, in a world of his own when it comes to this. But do you think it's possible that what you're specifically talking about with the injury risk, that we've seen from Lamar, that he is handling it better to take on less of those types of hits, that he has been elusive, he's done a good job of getting out of bounds, that it doesn't seem like he has done the Robert Griffin III thing where he has taken on unnecessary contact over and over and over again to try to show more bravado. It seems to me like he's been willing to try to do something that's similar, or more similar anyway, to what we've seen from Russell Wilson.
Well, I mean, he did. I thought at the beginning of the year he did a good job of eluding the rush and not taking hits. But as the year went on, he started taking more hits. And even I thought a couple games ago, or I think it was a couple games ago, or last game, I'm sorry, where he was down and somebody came down and put their shoulder right into the back of his neck.
Yep.
Like, it's just one of those things where the refs are looking at it and they're looking like, do we protect that? Do we not protect that? And that should have been called. That's a penalty. But what they're looking at is this man is running. It's almost he fell forward, so how do we not call a guy from going down? And so, like I said, at the end of the day, he did a good job at the beginning of the year not taking hits. The hits came towards the end of the year, but as defenses kind of get, they say, okay, you know what? We gotta just do what we do in the passing lanes, play gap control. When he take off running, we're going to hit him. Those hits are going to come earlier in the year now because teams are going to be used to this style of play, of the play calling and everything else. Because I don't know if it can change, to be honest with you. I really don't. They're running a certain style of offense. That's what's been allowing them to be the rushing leader, break records rushing. So, teams are going to pick up on it.
All right, so the other side of what you're saying, Bernard, and the idea that, it's not just that Lamar Jackson, it's the style. It's what they're doing that's the problem. One of the things we talked about during the course of the year, and it came up a few times, was I would do radio hits all over the country, and people would say, are they really going to let Lamar Jackson keep running like this? And what I would say is, yes, they've decided, risk be damned, we're not going to neuter ourselves. We have someone whose skill set is so much better than everyone else's in this one particular area, right? We have the greatest running quarterback of all time, so we're not going to say we're going to stop running. Why would we deny ourselves that? It sounds like your suggestion would be they need to. Like, they need to neuter that. They need to say, hey, that's all well and good, but I don't think that's going to be what's going to end up. That system isn't going to work for you to win a championship. Is it smart to take someone who has a skill set and say, don't use that skill set to try to help us win football games?
Well, no. So I don't want to come and say that. What I'm saying is you have to develop that. They're not developing it. And as you just started out saying, and I've said from the beginning of the season, what the Baltimore Ravens are saying is our number 8 is better than your 11 players at the end of the day. So on 4th down and 5, if we choose to go for it and all hell breaks loose, he's going to run. And he's going to outrun you. He's going to shake 4 or 5 of your players and get the first down or a touchdown or a big game. So they've been gun-ho with that mentality. And all I'm saying is I'm looking at the development. Even I don't think any one of you guys can tell me when it comes down to checking plays, Lamar Jackson or the Baltimore Ravens haven't checked one play at the line of scrimmage because they've been playing bully ball. Our number 8 is better than you.
Yeah.
Our rushing attack is better than yours. Mm-hmm. So there's no reason for us to check. There's no reason for us to do anything else. At the end of the day, when teams start putting you in certain situations and there's no checks, there's no reading the defense, then that comes back and kills a football team.
Why was there not enough shown between year 1 and year 2 for you to think that this Ravens offense is eventually going to get to that level?
Well, as far as year 1 and year 2, I mean, he came in at the tail end of the year. He did some really good. He did some things. I shouldn't say the tail end, but he came in towards the middle or end of the season. He did some special things. He didn't really have to throw the football. I mean, he didn't really throw the football like that. But when I look at what he did this year, obviously they catered the offense for him. This offense is his. It wasn't Joe Flacco's. It wasn't part of Joe's. This was Lamar Jackson's offense. At the beginning of the year, against the Cardinals, against the Miami Dolphins, they were able to throw the ball against not so good defenses. And even I still say, Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson threw the ball. He threw the ball better. I thought it was a little bit better, but at the same time, they still relied on his legs. They relied on the rushing attack. Right. And so, as far as the year from the year 1 to year 2 jump, obviously we see more out of year 2 because this is his. But I mean, is this as good as it gets? Because teams got a complete offseason to look at this offense. This is their offense. So you mean to tell me they're going to come out and spray it next year? Are they going to create a new offense for next year and say, okay, well, we switch this thing up? Or are we going to go half and half? You just don't know because this is how this quarterback was able to be productive. But as you get older, can this continue to be productive?
I don't know. The funny thing is that, Bernard, I don't know that you and I are you're going to be screaming different about certain opinions, right? Like, I don't know that Lamar Jackson's ever going to be the thrower of the football that Pat Mahomes is, for example. Now, in fairness, right. Who is, right? Like, Pat Mahomes is a talent unlike anything we've ever seen, right? So I think there's something to be said for it. I guess the only difference that I come back to is that I don't, I get it. They lost. So, like, right now, you've got the leg to stand on because they lost on Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like, what you've said so far is true. I just don't know that if we play that game 10 times that they don't win that game. I don't know that it is impossible that they couldn't have won 3 more football games doing this or that they couldn't come back and do it again. And I get it. Things have to go right. A lot of things went right for them this year in order for that to play out. They stayed really healthy otherwise. Like, a lot of things went right. I don't know that I can jump to the conclusion that they couldn't win a championship doing things the way that they're doing them, that things wouldn't break the right way. I don't know that it's always going to be so overwhelming that they couldn't figure out a way to do it. And that's the only thing I think that I'm struggling with is the definitive nature of saying there's no way that this could win a championship.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is 1 year of this offense. They were dominant in the regular season. And with this type of offense, when they're dominant and you have the type of athlete that Lamar Jackson is, and once again, I want everybody to understand, I think Lamar Jackson is elusive. I think he is a star. He showed us that he is the MVP of the National Football League. But when you're this dominant and you're winning football games and then you get a first-round bye, Lamar Jackson didn't play in the last game.
Right.
Lamar Jackson didn't play in the first round or the first round of playoffs. The Ravens didn't play in the first round of playoffs. When this happens with this type of offense or this type of team that you have, they've been playing a lot of bully ball. So when that bully got to sit for 2 weeks, it's going to come out rusty. And we saw it was rust all for this offense. I mean, the defense, hit some things that, they were a little rusty. They were off. But with this style of play, they need to play. They got to play in that first round of playoffs because you can't take time off. For me, my opinion, with this type of offense, you need to be going because now people are, you're not really sneaking up on nobody. Everybody knows who Lamar is, but Lamar needs to play. Lamar needs to go in and suit up and get a couple runs and get a couple passes so that way it can carry over. I have no idea what their bye week was like, but obviously it didn't help because the rust was there, as we saw rust on other teams. But they were able to rebound and come up out of that. The Baltimore Ravens was not able to. And once again, now we go to year 2 of this offense. More teams are going to understand it better. They're going to see and understand where Andrew's going. Andrew runs the over. You got a lot of crossers. So now we got an all season to prepare for it. That's why I'm saying I don't believe that this can win them a championship.
Bernard, before I let you go, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I think a lot of people have asked about your relationship with John Harbaugh, and John Harbaugh now is the guy, right? Like, he's responsible for this, and it's been 2 years that they've had home playoff games. How much of this, and they've lost, and they've come out flat, frankly, in both of those years.
Right.
How much of that do you falls on the head coach in those circumstances?
Well, as I said in my tweet after the game, the blame goes to Lamar Jackson takes the blame, as do his teammates, but Lamar Jackson takes the blame. The coach has got to take the blame too, because preparation, development, play calling, things of that nature. John Harbaugh isn't doing any play calling. He's not involved in any play calling.
Right, correct.
So, obviously, Roman and them are doing it. He is the overseer. Now, my the thing between him and I, that's between us. And when I talk about the Ravens, I'm not worried about, I know what John Harbaugh is doing and what he's not doing. So he's not even a concern. What he did, he knows what he did. He knows the bad ball and the bull crap that he did, as well as Ozzie. They know that. And so, if we ever decide to sit down and talk about it and clear the air, cool. Other than that, when I talk about this football team, I'm talking about what's going on, and it's really, when I say the coaches, obviously Harbaugh got to take some blame for it, but, Greg Roman created this offense for Lamar. Lamar Jackson, this team was handicapped because they could only do so much. Once again, there's no checks. There's no anything like that. So you handicap this team when defenses start to understand what they're doing. They got to take the blame.
So let me wrap with this, what you just alluded to. You're a guy that people around here loved. Absolutely loved watching play football, and I really enjoyed being around you in the locker room. I thought you were an engaging dude. I've always appreciated the time that you've taken for us. You've always been very receptive to doing this type of stuff. Is this possible? If the Ravens were to say to you, "Hey, Bernard, we want to have you back in town next year. We really would like to have a relationship with you," and I'm not saying that would mean that you would have to be glowing about them all the time, because I do respect. I think one of the things you said this weekend that I completely agree with is that the checks aren't coming. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe anybody anything,
right.
And I completely agree with that. But is that possible? Could there be a better relationship between Bernard Pollard and the Ravens in the future?
Well, it's not the Ravens. What it is, it's John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh, as far as pride and everything else, he's not going to put that aside, and that's fine. If he asks me to come in, I will come in. But like I said, he knows what he did. Him and Ozzie know what they did when they cut me. They know what they did when it was time for me to sign with another team. They know what they did. I've talked about that, and there's more that I can say. But it's at the end of the day, his pride will not. He won't say it. He won't do it, and I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with never speaking to them again. I don't hate them, but like I said, as men, we do need to iron it out. But it will not get there. And like I said, I'm totally okay with that.
All right, well, I'm going to root for it to get there somehow, personally, because it's, look, I'll admit, it's a bummer. I'll say the same things. That you have no obligation. You have no obligation whatsoever to the Ravens organization, no obligation to any of those people. It's a bummer because I'm a Bernard Pollard fan, right? I think all of us are around here. And we'll forever have memories of that day in Foxborough and just, all the things that you did for this organization. So I hope that one day we can get to that point. I hope that one day that might happen. Bernard,
we'll see.
I hope so. What can I plug for you? I appreciate you taking the time for us. What can I plug for you that people can be checking out?
Hey man, look, I'm living life. I want everybody to understand. It isn't hate. This is me talking football. I look at things a little different. And as I said at the beginning of the show, my loyalty is to football. It's not to the Ravens. I am very appreciative, and I still say the Ravens are the best organization I've ever been a part of. I won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. I love my time with my teammates. I love my time winning there. and just my experience. But at the end of the day, when I talk football, I am not loyal to the Ravens. I'm just talking ball, and I got to let the fans know what I see when I watch the film.
Well, I don't disagree with that. You do not have any obligation. That's not the way the world works, man. Like, you don't just have to say, hey, I played somewhere, so I'll forever say glowing things. Imagine if you had played for the Redskins, right? Like, Christ. Imagine if that had been the case. At CrushBoy31 on Twitter, of course, is how you follow him. On Instagram, it's at BPollardJr. And is YouTube the best place for people to find the show that you do, the Bernard Pollard Show?
Yes, I do that. I have a blast doing it. I just get on there and freaking talk ball. But, yeah, man, they can find me the Bernard Pollard Show on YouTube. Awesome,
man. Hey, Bernard, I appreciate you taking the time. I would love to continue having conversations with you in the future. I've always enjoyed it. We have some things that we disagree about, but that's the way this world works, right? Like,
exactly.
We're going to disagree on things. I thank you again for doing this, man, and we'll do it again soon, all right?
All right, thank you guys for having me. Y'all take it easy.
Absolutely. Bernard Pollard joins us here on GCR. So